They tried to stop my shine, but I said, hold up. Y'all know how many hoes done tried to hold this hoe up?
Tokyo
Talk
boy.
the music. Craig, keep it tight like the circle of life, like the band at your waist, 90s Puffy and Mace. I brings the news like Zazu, but keep it king like Simba. Some hot takes on the day, and something to remember. These haters be scars. You know they try to deny me, but I fights like Nala and give them looks blue ivy. Hey y'all, what's up? Hey y'all, what's up? Another week, let's go, let's go. Another week, let's go, let's go. How's everybody doing this week? I know I give y'all 2 shows this week, but it's because I didn't give y'all a show last week, so I'm making up. You know, sometimes like in school, you know, you miss a week for vacation or something, you have to make the shit up. So I'm making the shit up. So welcome to Craig's Pop Life, a black gay excursion into pop culture. I am your host, Craig Seymour. You know me. I've been writing about music and pop culture for more than 20 years now. Yes, I am that fucking old and proud of it, because I can say what the fuck I want to say. Anyway, you can read some of my music writing at rnbeing.com. I'm also an author who has written a number of books. There's the biography, Luther, The Life and Longing of Luther Vandross, my memoir about being a grad school stripper hoe, All I Could Bear, My Life in the Strip Clubs of Gay Washington, D.C., my novel about 3 generations of black gay men looking for that good old love, Who's Your Daddy?, and my forthcoming special, The Life and Art of Janet Jackson. In addition to that, I have a website where you can find links for all the songs and other things that I discuss on the show, and that's easy to remember. It's craigspoplife.com. And I also have an Amazon shop where I put all the books that I discuss on the podcast and other stuff that I particularly like. Maybe you will like it as well. And that is also easy to remember. It's amazon.com/shop/Craig's So there we go. Now that we got the good business out the way, welcome to yet another very special Beyoncé episode of Craig's Pop Life. There have been others. I think we did a whole homecoming episode. So here we go. So this week I'm going to give you my review of the new Lion King movie and also my first listen. Sorry, I have to adjust my glasses, y'all. My first listen of the accompanying Beyoncé curated album, The Lion King, The Gift. So, starting with the movie. Okay, so as I was first seated in the good old IMAX cinema, the lights had come down and everything like that, it dawned on me that I had never really seen the original Lion King. I mean, because here's the weird thing. I have a younger brother, but he's 23 years younger than me. So, like, you know, just growing up and stuff like that and being around, I'd watch a lot of TV with him, mostly, you know, and we used to fight over the remote because I'd want to be watching Arthur and he'd want to watch that old white lady with her whack-ass school bus, and we'd be back and forth. And I even complained to my mother one time. I told her that he needed to be watching Arthur because that was about actual human relationships. And if he kept all focused on that science stuff, he was going to turn out to be an antisocial nerd. Well, he's now an Ivy League educated engineer with a girlfriend, but that's neither here nor there. Arthur is the better show. But all that is to say that I'm a mostly TV guy. That's mostly when I was in the room. When he was watching his little movies, I was just kind of in and out. So, you know, like I heard The Lion King something. I knew a little here and there's, but I didn't really organically know the movie like that. And then when I lived in New York, I took him to see The Lion King on Broadway. But I just could not get into that because there were just too many actors running up and down the aisle, swinging shit, doing all sorts of stuff, and like I'm from DC. You don't just come running behind me like that. Like I don't know you. I don't know your puppet. You need to get the fuck out my personal area and give me some space. So I was so tense during that experience. I don't even remember the show, so I didn't really follow the story. So that all that to say, seeing the movie this time was an entirely new experience to me because I, didn't really remember or had retained anything from the initial times that I was exposed to various Lion King incarnations. Um, so like I said, it was a new experience and I enjoyed it. I thought it was a cute take on the whole, how you have to walk through fire and go through tests and trials in order to find your inner power, that whole theme, which is sort of universal, but it's one of those things that is always sort of compelling. And you know, just I caught a couple of folks on Twitter before I saw it. People like Roxanne Gay that were saying they didn't like the special effects because it's all actual animals, but it's special effects making it look like their mouths are moving and that they're emoting like humans and stuff like that. Some people said that they couldn't get into it, that it was too unrealistic. But to me, if you're a pet owner like me, then you already thinks your pets be talking. So I guess it's not a stretch to think that your pet is giving you a side eye. It's like, don't you look at me like that. I bring the food in here. Don't you give me that look. You know, and like my dog's about to turn 2, so she's getting into those teenage years, and now all of a sudden she got all this lip. Like I tell her to do something that she don't want to do, and I hear all this like, growling under her little breath. And I'll be like, I don't be having. I'll be like, just because you go on these little play dates at your white friends' houses and you hear them talk to their parents like that, don't mean you can run up in here with all this back talk. Because I don't play that. Gonna fuck around and catch a shoe. So anyway, all that to say is that I already believe the animals be throwing attitude and shade and emoting and you know playing on your sympathy and stuff like that. And I already imagine stuff with my dog be cursing me out and being that bitch, and also be loving. So I mean, all that to say, it was not a stretch to me. So maybe it will be for you, but it was not for me. And watching the film, I was really so caught up in the story and so caught up with the animals and the characters that I didn't even realize the first time Beyonce spoke. It was about a line in. I was like, oh, okay, that's B. We finally into the B part. And I thought she did a really good job because sometimes when she speaks, like in interviews and something, like she's very could be kind of monotone, and because she, has grown up in the industry and has so much training about not she doesn't talk like me. She's not just saying any old thing. You know what I mean? She's very controlled about what she says and the message she's putting out. She's not just rambling on a podcast in the middle of the night. You know what I'm saying? But I really did feel like she got into the character with her voice. I didn't feel like I was listening to the audio from Life is But a Dream or anything like that. Like I was really hearing her as Nala, and I really was not thinking the whole time, Beyonce is saying this, Beyonce is saying that. Like, she really did get me into the story. And I thought across the board, the vocal performances were really good from Donald Glover to Seth Rogen as Pumbaa to the head of the hyenas, which I love, is this Ugandan German actress, Florence Kasamba, I think is how you pronounce her name. And she's also a member of the Black Panthers all female fighting squad. So I don't know if she talks in the movie, but she's just fierce in The Lion King is voicing this hyena. Those hyenas were scary. There wasn't nothing, you know, funny about them. Well, they have funny lines, but they were scary. But the three voices that most stood out for me were John Oliver as Zazu. I did not know it was John Oliver. I was just like, "Oh, this bird is kind of funny. I like this bird. Who's doing this bird?" I had to Wikipedia it after the movie and realize it was John Oliver because I don't really watch John Oliver's show unless somebody tells me, "Oh, you need to watch John Oliver's show." This particular episode of John Oliver's show, so I don't really know his voice like that. So I thought he did a great job. And Billy Eichner was really funny. It was like he was channeling Paul Lynde from the old Hollywood Squares and the old sitcoms and stuff like that for you know, Pumbaa's little counterpart, what's it, Timon or something like that. And James Earl Jones, James Earl Jones, one of those people, almost like Cicely Tyson. Like it feels like it's almost like redundant to praise them. Like, of course, they are going to do a great job because they are great. But I really got into him as Mufasa, which apparently he played in the original movie. I would not know, but he really, he really James Earl Jones the situation. He was really great in it. So what's my ultimate assessment? If you're thinking about because IMAX is damn near $20. If you're thinking about whether or not to put out your coins for this particular cinematic situation, is it a must see for grown ass people, even grown ass members of the Beehive like me? I would have to say no. I mean, it's entertaining and it's engaging, but it's like it doesn't. It ain't telling you anything new, and it's not really showing you anything new. It's just like it's very well done. Um, they're breathtaking scenes of various African landscapes and everything like that. But you could turn on Nat Geo and see some of that stuff. Do you know what I mean? So it's like in that way, it's not. And the animals are talking, but in a way, the special effects for me were so good that it almost doesn't even seem special that they're talking. Do you know what I mean? So for me, I just accept that right off the bat. So that didn't even, there was no novelty to that for me because I was into it from jump. So, now if you got some kids in your life, your own kids, some siblings, cousins, nieces, and nephews, and you can take them with you. Yeah, like if they ask you to take them, you will be entertained. You will enjoy it. If you kind of want to see it yourself but need that extra push, just grab a kid, from your circle and just, that will be enough of a push to go over. I'm just saying, like, is it enough to plan your whole day? I mean, it might be a cool, like, after a boozy brunch and y'all just slide into that might be cool. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think you under any circumstance you'll feel like you wasted your money or anything like that. It's not that deep. I just think that it doesn't necessarily have the elements to make you go out of your way to see it. But that's just me. Everybody everybody will feel differently about that. And of course, some people will just want to support it just because Beyonce's in it and they want to support a Beyonce film. And I can understand that. That is the reason why I went to see it. So, um, you know. Now, other than that, we also get this new, this sort of curated Beyonce album, Lion King: The Gift, that's accompanying the the movie, and that just dropped, at midnight today, which is Friday. I always think of myself as doing the show on Thursday night, but really I don't ever really do it till the early hours of Friday. So this is kind of my first listen and my first thoughts on The Lion King: The Gift. And my first response was like, damn, this is really a damn Beyonce album. It's a whole Beyonce album, down to the copyright. Because one of the first things I saw when I pulled the album up on Tidal was it reads copyright 2019 Parkwood Entertainment under exclusive license to Columbia Records, a division of Sony Music Entertainment. There ain't a Disney in the mix, despite The Lion King being a Disney film. And I'm thinking to myself, that's some boss ass shit. I mean, think about it. To be able to say, to a big ass corporation like Disney, okay, look, I'll do your little movie, but I'm also gonna do a album tied to the movie, and I'm gonna own all of it. Y'all aren't gonna get any of it. And what? I mean, so I was impressed by the boss acidness of the situation even before the music started playing. And essentially, the album has like nine new Beyonce songs, either solo Beyonce songs or Beyonce with people. And that was a lot more than I was expecting, too. I was expecting maybe Spirit and like two other joints, you know what I mean? But it really is, I mean, she really is on a lot of the tracks, and a lot of the tracks just feature her. And the other thing that immediately impressed me was the first song, Bigger, makes it clear that she's not singing in character or anything like that. She's not, there are no songs about Nala pining for Simba, something like that. I mean, there are interludes from the film in there, but it really is more about how she sort of used the themes of the film to reflect on her own life. And it gives us that same kind of introspection that has made her music so interesting over the last several years. Um, so I was really glad about that because I didn't want it to be sort of it does not it really doesn't feel like it's a standalone project from her career, if that makes sense. It really feels more like it flows right from Lemonade, and even has come of the Afrobeat influences of Four, and it really fits right in there. It's not usually when she released an album, it's kind of like a whole new sound, a whole new theme, and everything like that. And it's not that, but it's like a kind of a connector album. I guess in the same way that Everything in Love is by the Carters was kind of like a connecting album. So anyway, that's what I was like, "Damn, I really could get into this because it's her talking about her life based upon the movie's theme." And, Bigger is kinda like a musical cousin to Love Drought, and it really makes it clear how personal she took the themes of the film because she sings about the continued pressures of marriage and motherhood, themes that she's visited before. And she even admits that it's even for her, even for Beyonce, it's sometimes hard, sometimes a struggle to connect to her inner strength and to feel that sense of power from, a higher source. And at one point she sings, "Step into your essence and know that you're excellent. Oh, I'm not preaching. I'm taking my own advice." So, it's her being vulnerable, it's her being open about her life, open about her insecurities. So that just really set a nice tone for me because I didn't feel like I was going to be getting into like I said, a character album or just like a novelty album. Even though if she were to have done a novelty Lion King album, I'm sure it would have been more creative and more entertaining than most people's little novelty album, but I was so glad from the initial song to kind of realize that it was not that. And, she said that she wanted the album to have an authentic kind of Afrobeat feel. And I think it really succeeds in that. And it sounds a lot less forced than some of her previous Afrobeat excursions, like say Until the End of Time, which was never really one of my favorite cuts, even though she performed it to death. You know how Beyonce be performing stuff and like that you might not like the song initially, and the first concert she performs that you might not like it. Second concert she performs that you still might like it. Three or four tours in, you're singing the song at the top of your lungs. Same thing happened with Run the World. You know, I did not necessarily like that song, but now, when I hear it at the show, so she does a good job in selling what she is putting out. But all that to say, just as it exists on the album, I really feel like she is able to very organically integrate some of these sounds and rhythms with her very singular kind of style and sound as it's really been defined since the self-titled album. So But then at the same time, the interesting thing about it is that the album makes you realize how much African and Afro Caribbean rhythms have just been basically infused seamlessly into contemporary pop and R&B. Because nothing on the album, even by the artists, the African artists themselves, without Beyonce being on it, nothing really sounds like it would be out of place, on the radio, at the club, or as a track on a Drake album. It sounds very much in line with kind of what's going on with music right now. And so another song that I like, and it's actually the second song, "Find Your Way Back." Now, like I said, "Bigger" was kind of like a musical cousin to "Love Drought." Sorry about that. I just hit my mic. "Bigger" is kind of a musical cousin to "Love Drought." "Find Your Way Back" is like a thematic cousin of "Daddy Lessons." It's sort of her talking about, her father giving little tests for her as a girl in order for her to prove herself and to understand how to navigate the world and things like that. So those are even I probably listened to about 3 times now. Those two are probably my favorite songs on those first couple listens. As for the other Beyonce songs that initially stand out for me, of course, I love "Brown Skin Girl" for the sentiment. Um, I really like the ballad "Other Side." It kind of gives me the Stevie Wonder "If It's Magic" type of feeling. So I definitely feel like I'm going to be revisiting that song a lot. And of course, "Mood Forever" with Jay Z and Jay Z's rapping on it and Childish Gambino singing is one that talk that shit type of party joints, when they just, I'm this, I'm that, I'm this, I'm that, I'm bad. One of those type of shit talking songs, type of which I personally love, type to get me hyped. Sometimes you need those songs. I have a whole playlist of those type of songs. Sometimes you be waking up, you be having one of them days. You need you know, hype type of ain't nobody badder than me. I'm the shit type of song just to get you to regular functioning levels. So I always love those types of songs. And this song is very interesting. It's very layered. Um, it's like a club joint, but it has a lot of layers to it. It has some African chants, and at one point, it serves up sort of a variation on the "Maria Maria," "Independent Woman," "Wild Thoughts." That beat. It's basically all the same beat, but it does it with African drums. So that's really interesting. And the song is produced by Beyoncé and DJ Khaled. So I thought that that's good. People can finally stop asking what it is that he does, because if Beyonce has chosen him in particular to produce a cut on her album that she's specially curating for a movie project, then yes, you are a producer without question, whatever. So shout out to DJ Khaled. Um, as for the other songs, I'm not gonna say anything that I didn't like, because I think that's really not appropriate when you're just listening to something, one time. And I wouldn't have done that as a critic when I was writing. Well, I probably did actually, because sometimes you're on deadline and you have to. But now that I own my own shit and I'm doing this my own shit for me, I can do what I want. And for me, I don't think it's really, unless something is egregiously bad, sometimes it just takes some stuff to grow on you. So I'm not gonna say anything. Not that there are any songs that I really feel are bad. They're just some songs that I just, it's like, okay, didn't really get into on first or second or third listen. But hey, after I have a glass of wine tonight or something, or after I wake up tomorrow, maybe put it on a playlist as I go on my run or something like that, it might be a whole different experience. So. But the other songs that I get the feeling I'm gonna really get into, like "Water," I think is really gonna grow on me. I'll give you an update next week, but I feel like "Water's" gonna grow on me. And in terms of the other artists on the album, on some of the non-Beyonce songs, the first one who really hooked me from jump was Nigerian Burner Boy. I know he's been around, so I'm not acting like, I mean, I know it's just me new to listening to him, but I know others been listen to him, but I really like the song that he has on the soundtrack. He has a real sexy and smooth voice and flow, so I'm definitely, gonna go back through that catalog because he really impressed me. Um, and so that's it for my assessment of the album, and and to just sum up my thoughts on the film and the thoughts on the album. As far as the movie, it's entertaining, but it's not a must see unless you got kids or something. Um, and then as for the gift, the album, I think the thing you most need to know is that it really is like a whole Beyoncé album, and it's probably much more of a Beyoncé album than if you were like me, than you were probably expecting. So enjoy it, and I guess that's why she called it the gift. So anyway, thanks once again for listening. Um, if you enjoyed the show, I'd appreciate if you could rate it on iTunes. You don't got to write nothing, just push the number of stars. Like I said, I really appreciate it because it does help a lot with search results. And if you know somebody who likes the podcast, I mean, hell, maybe you didn't enjoy the podcast, but maybe, you know somebody who would. So if you are that person or whatever, somebody who might like it, please share it. I'd appreciate it very much. And until next time, people, I love y'all for listening. Um, as we do it this time, be cool, be kind, be creative, and in the words of my fave,
Be your damn self.
okay, I love y'all. See you next week. Bye.